it's James with Make It Happen Greenhouse, and I wasn't going to make a video on this. Sometimes you just want to do a project and not worry about the pictures and video and all that, but it's so good that I just had to share. So this is about my swarm box that I was building, and the first thing I'm going to show you is this awesome logo. My wife made this by hand with a wood etcher that burns the wood, and it turned out great. So here's the box. We used some scrap wood, put it all together. The sizes were a little odd, but I had a deep frame to use as a guide. So this is another angle of it. You can see the little hole in the front is 1 inch, and behind that is a piece of flashing with 4 1/4-inch holes drilled in it, and then on each side a little hook for securing to the tree. Here in front, you see I made this little bamboo insert. Those are rubber bands around a piece of screen, so that if we do capture a swarm, we just put that in there and get them to where I knew. There's a couple of stainless steel screws there. You can see up close here with some fishing line to secure that little plug. So again, letting air in, but the bees will stay in while in transport. So stainless steel screws is important. We don't want those to get nasty. And just another view of that so you can see. And you'll see that there are 3 screws at the top. Those are decking screws that I had left over. I kind of put this whole thing together with brads and then went back behind that and used the decking screws. Little lighter photo here so you can actually see what it looks like. Again, that is actually the little stand that it will be on, and that's a piece of old picket on the bottom there. Again, using leftover wood. So here I went ahead and used a gel stain, Minwax gel stain, and I like the gel stain because it's like one step. It's so easy, and it does a pretty good job with coverage. You might need to hit it with a second coat if you want it to be darker, especially on some of that pine wood. And here you can see Carp's bees. So always good to put your name and a phone number, contact information. Those hooks, by the way, I'm gonna actually paint those so that they're protected because I think they're gonna rust. And just another view of this so you can kind of see. Now I'm gonna switch over to video so you can actually listen to an overview with live video versus pictures. And then at the end, we'll actually show the installation. I was hesitating on whether or not to make a video about the swarm box. Sometimes you just want to go do a project and not be worried about sharing it with the rest of the world. But it turned out so nice, I decided to go ahead and do that anyway. So I didn't get a lot of videos as this was being built. I took a few pictures. You'll see those when I put this video together, but did want to share what I built here. So first of all, I will just say the theme is not to buy anything new. All this was built from scrap wood that I had laying around, mismatched pieces, all that. So it took a little work to get this thing, exactly right. I didn't go buy a new sheet of plywood or anything like that. So had to work with what I had. And certainly the sizes weren't perfect. And you know what? I just glanced at a couple photos online and then just took one of these frames, these deep frames, and just went ahead and built it from there. So let me just show you some of the features that I have here. First, we'll start with the back side. There's a 2x4 basically mount here that I've pre-drilled some holes in at the base. So the screws are going to be drilled in the side. So the first thing I did is I just used some brads to piece this all together after I cut it, and then I went behind that and secured everything with these decking screws. So I had some various sizes of decking screws left over from other projects, so was able to use those. And then where I needed to kind of make some adjustments, you'll see a lot of little either paneling coated type nails or even some brads in here. So if we just look inside the box, actually was fortunate to have some pretty nice pieces of wood laying around. You can see I misfired on some of these nails, but that's okay. I don't think that'll hurt anything. Had some nails pop up from the bottom, so decided, hey, you know what? This will be the lure that I'll put in here. So a cotton ball with some lemongrass, maybe some beeswax I'll melt in here, And so I just secured that. I basically
screwed it into the screw that was popped up at the bottom, and I'll just fit that between 4 or 5 frames in here. I think that'll work fine. You'll also notice the entrance here. Those are 4/4 of an inch holes cut in, actually drilled into some flashing that I had left over from, again, another project. So just kind of cut that, smooth the edges a little bit, tack that in with some brads, and voila, there we go. So along the edge here, when I built the box, it was just a hair shorter than I needed it to be. So I went ahead and added these pieces of molding around to lift the lid. And as I did that, I thought, you know what? I don't want any water to accumulate on the top of this. So I just put a slight little angle on here, or slope on this, so that basically the water will drip off of the lid. So now this is going to be in a tree. Do I get the leveling exactly right? Probably not anyway, but this is just a built-in feature, something interesting to do. As far as the hangers on the inside, I'll just take this deep frame here, and you can see everything fits in pretty good. So I am sure we can get, and this is wet again, so I want to be careful here. I don't want to contaminate these frames with the stain, but certainly I could put 2 on either side of the lure. If I wanted to take the lure and move that around a little bit, I can do that. And we could get 5 in there, so 4 or 5 frames per box here. So went ahead and just put my Carps Bees on here and my number, so that if somebody finds this in a tree, they can go ahead and give me a shout if they're worried about it. The other thing I did is, and this is really the highlight, I'll be honest, I've had this logo made. It's going to say Carps Bees on it. I had a friend do that, and then my wife has a kit to be able to etch wood, by burning it, and she volunteered and was nice enough to just design this and etch it in by hand. So she drew this from the logo picture and then went ahead and etched it, and then I stained over it. And so, wow, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just beautiful. So thank you so much for that. Here you can see there's a 1-inch hole, and then there's where the 4 smaller holes are at, so that the bees can get in there. Put a little molding on here just to kind of cover up some mishaps with some nails. Again, spare wood. So, and then as part of the mount to the tree, the board that sits under here is just an old picket, so it had dog ears on it. So, utilizing that, and then I had some old bamboo, little tiny pieces of bamboo. So just took that with some screen, some rubber bands, some fishing line, and the idea here is, and I'm not going to do it because it's wet, but just to shove that in there, so still get some airflow for the bees. But if we've captured a swarm, I can just shove this in here temporarily, get the box to where it needs to be, and we'll be good. And then in the meantime, we'll just hang this on these little stainless steel screws I had laying around. So, and important to use stainless steel or weather resistant screws and nails whenever possible. This is going to be up in a tree, and the weather here will definitely take its toll. Again, you can see that I was using, sorry for the light here, but decking screws across the top here to kind of re-secure everything. So there's another look just here. So the other challenge was to build a lid for this. So I'll show you what I did over here. So here's our lid, and the first thing you'll notice is that that there's an overhang here. So this hangs over the entrance. So this is designed to be positioned facing south. So just for fun, I took a cedar picket. Again, the top of it was just a leftover piece from another project, and it points north. So if that's pointing north, then the entrance, which would be here, should be pointing south. So in a perfect world, that's how that would work. Maybe I can grab a hold of this and just lift it. Let's see how wet it is. It's not too bad. Maybe we can see under here. again, trying not to stain the inside as much as possible. So, but I do want it to be weather resistant. So around the inside edge of the kind of the cover, but not the top where the bees would be. And then you'll notice those little yellow dots. That was some of the beeswax, extra beeswax that my hive has been producing. So I just took a little piece of metal flashing. And by the way, this is what I used to cut the entrance. Put it on there and took a little lighter and melted it and then just dripped it on the lid, thinking that that'll be part of the attractant to get the swarms to come to our house. So, and speaking of that, we're going to test this in our own front yard first before we ever go and wander around and put this in a tree line somewhere. You know, interesting, as I've been working in the garage here, I've had quite a few bee visitors come. So I think it's because I have this frame sitting here where I also drip some of the wax, and the bees were interested in that. So that is a pretty good sign for our swarm trap to actually work. So there you have it. There are some of the features. I don't know if this thing will work. I put these hooks on the side, I had them laying around. I figured those would be helpful. So the plan is to go ahead and stick this up in a tree, maybe use a strap with these hooks to get it up there, and then just screw it directly into the tree. And if I needed to just take this box and run, I can just remove you know, a couple screws in the bottom here and the strap, and you know, this whole, you know, mount will just stay intact and come with me. So this little extra bracket here I added. So this board here is attached to the bottom. Yeah, you know, I'd have to take out the 2 screws in the bottom, and then those 2, that's what it was, and then the box would be free. So so 4 screws removed, and then I could lay the box flat, no worries for the bees there. So so there you have it. One more little look at Carp's swarm box here. And again, thank you to Luke Hunter, my good friend that made the logo, and my beautiful wife Reva, who went ahead and actually etched that logo into the box. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you. Okay, so it's time to put the swarm trap in the tree. So it's pretty heavy. Gotta get up this ladder. I have a strap up there. Gonna try to get it to hang off the strap at first. Then I'm gonna use 2 screws to secure it to the trunk. We'll check level and make adjustments, tighten up that strap, and if we need to add more support, we'll assess the situation at that point. A little add I made late here is this little pin here that I put to hold the lid in place so it doesn't blow off. So that's a nice little addition. So we're set up and ready to go. So I'll come back and we'll see if it worked. Okay, that was a lot harder and more difficult than I thought. It really is a 2-person job. It was just me. So here's what we ended up with. So here are some best practices or lessons learned. 1, try to get a trunk of a tree that's really, really straight. This was not, so I had to end up cutting and installing a few pieces of 2x4. I came behind it and stained it the same color, so it wouldn't stick out as much. So that's one thing. Cut away any obstructing branches. That's another. And then I think you want a darker strap. I have this bright green thing. I think I want like black or camouflage or something. And then I did get up there and level it, basically using the strap to get it level. So really this is just a stabilizer. If the strap came down, this whole thing comes down, no doubt. So we have the strap there. I've clamped it and then tied a knot on it. And then to ensure level, I have this additional little rope that I tied to pull it over, and that help make it level. And now I'm just realizing that I left the level up there. Ah, shucks, I got to go get the ladder. But yeah, let's see if this works. The bee trap is in place. It's about 10 feet high, and we'll see if we actually get some bees. So wish us luck with that.